Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Liv and I'm so glad you decided to stop by. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my very ambitious, very all over the place March TBR. But first of all, we are in a different filming kind of position, mainly because it is so dark outside, but I'm also filming like 2 to 3 hours later than I typically do, so it's a little bit different. Hopefully it's not too distracting, but it's also very cloudy and just dark, and it's really difficult to get lighting in this room actually, so hopefully this is okay. But like I said, I'm here to share all the books that I want to read in the month of March, and it is a massive variety. We are starting to have some more readathons popping up, and I feel like I was kind of in a slump in February. I always feel like February and January and even March can be kind of slumpy because there's not really a lot going on. It's still winter and there's like less seasonal content, especially less seasonal content to like film and put out. So I was having a rough time choosing what I actually wanted to read. There's quite the variety here, but hopefully you get a good recommendation because I am very excited to share these with you. But before we get started, I have to pick one of my 23 books of 2023, and I am very happy to report I did finish and read Killers of a Certain Age in February. So we are off to a very good start, but I'm also very nervous what I'm going to choose because I don't know. I'm always nervous, so let's see what happens. Shady Hollow! Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm actually so excited about this one. I was actually considering putting it on my March TBR because it is just long overdue that I read this. I was in Barnes & Noble yesterday and I saw it again. It was staring at me from the shelves, and I think this is going to be the perfect transitional kind of spring book. All of these characters are actually animals, which I find very interesting. I don't think I've ever read anything where animals have human-like characteristics, but I know the main character's name is Vera Vixen, and I think she's a fox. And there's a murder mystery that happens in this town, and she decides to take it upon herself to solve this mystery. So I am so excited to finally read this. I feel like I'm really gonna love this because all my friends don't stop talking about it. So we are off to a great start for March. My beautiful friends Keisha, Gwen, and Elizabeth are actually hosting a 24-hour readathon March 3rd through 4th. So hopefully if you guys see this, you will want to participate, but they are just hosting a readathon that's dedicated to graphic novels and manga. It's only 24 hours. It's a weekend readathon. There's going to be reading sprints, and this is right up my alley, so of course I'm going to join. I believe there is photo prompts for this. I could be wrong, but there is only 3 reading prompts, and the rest of the time I'm just going to be reading anything that I'm feeling or anything that's on my shelves. So to start us off, the first prompt is to read a graphic novel with an animal on the cover, and for this one I chose Katie the Cat Sitter. This is a middle grade graphic novel that I do not know much about other than it has cats, and if Katie is as much of a crazy cat lady as I am, I think I'm really going to love this one. Katie is dreading the summer ahead while her best friends will be away at camp, but when Katie gets a job cat sitting for her upstairs neighbor Madeline, things get interesting. For starters, Madeline has 217 cats. What? And they're not exactly regular cats. Plus, when Madeline only seems to go out exactly when the Mousetress, the city's most notorious villain, commits a crime. Could it be that Katie's neighbor is really a supervillain and that it's up to Katie to wrangle a whole lot of wayward cats, save a best friendship, and crack the biggest story in the city's history? So I had no idea, first of all, there's that many cats involved, but I had no idea this is actually a mystery. And good thing about this is it's a series. So if I really like the first one, I can continue on through the series. The next prompt is to read a graphic novel or manga that has one word in the title. And for this one, I could not help myself, even though this is more fall themed. I'm gonna be reading Unfamiliar, which is about a cozy kitchen witch. This has such a unique illustration style. The eyes are over exaggerated and the color palette is just so fun. The only thing I know about this is our kitchen witch actually moves to a new town, a new house, house and she finds out that it's haunted. So I cannot wait to see what creepy things happen, and I think this is just gonna be a really fun time. And the last prompt is to read a book with your favorite color palette, and I had to choose Lore Olympus for this one because I love the purples and blues and pinks in this color palette. This is kind of a dark toxic romance, but it's also Greek mythology and modern day times. This is volume 3, so I'm not gonna sit here and spoil anything for you, but if you do like romance, just be prepared, there is some trigger warnings in here. But also this is such a fun time and it's kind of like a guilty pleasure for me, so it's about time that I finally catch up on this series. So these are the 3 graphic novels that I am going to be vlogging to participate in the Let's Get Graphic readathon. So if you guys are interested, I'm going to leave all the details in my description below. But I am so excited to knock out some of these graphic novels that I've been accumulating because I have a ton on my shelf I actually have not read. But at the end of this video, I am going to include a couple more that I may end up reading during that weekend, but we will see because these are my main priority. Then I am finally going to be picking up Tomorrow ×3 with my friends Kayla and Kendall. We decided that we want to buddy read a book every month and then hang out to talk about it, and this is going to be the second time we've done this. Last time we read Killers of a Certain Age, and it was so much fun to kind of have like a little impromptu kind of book club because I don't really have like an in-person book club here, but I am super excited about this one. I know it won like a Goodreads award, it's won Book of the Year, I think it's won like a Book of the Month award. I don't really know how many awards this book has won, but I just know people that have read this have said that they don't typically pick up this genre, but they ended up crying and they really loved it. So I'm going into this fairly blind, other than the fact that I know there's 2 friends that are video game creators, and I think this book just follows them throughout their life and their friendship. So I am like really scared that this is gonna end up breaking my heart in the end, but also like I don't even care because it's so pretty, and sometimes I like to cry at books. And then another more literary kind of contemporary book that I've wanted to pick up for ages is Before the Coffee Gets Cold. I actually started reading this on audio and loved it so much that I had to stop and wait until I could get a hold of it physically. My friend Rachel recently read this and said she absolutely loved it, so that is like all the confirmation I need is for just one of my friends to convince me to read something because they loved it. But this book essentially is about a coffee shop where people go to time travel either back or forward into their memories, but I do know this is a very heart-gripping story and I don't know much about it than that, but all I need to hear is coffee and time travel and you basically have me sold. One of my recent favorite romance authors is now Abby Jimenez, and oh my goodness, Part of Your World was like one of my all-time favorite romances. Now that I've read it, I cannot get this author out of my head, so I decided to add The Friend Zone to my list, which I think is part of like a trilogy, or it at least follows I think some of the main characters or something like that, maybe some side characters, I'm not really sure, but I do know the content of this one has to do with infertility. It does say it on the back, so just be fair warned about that if you do decide to dive into this one. I think this is a girl attends a wedding, she falls in love with like the best friend's best man or something of the sort, and I don't know what else happens. I don't really care other than the fact that Abby Jimenez wrote it, and I need to read another one of her books like yesterday. I completely forgot to mention that March is deemed middle grade March. There is a readathon that some lovely ladies host, and they do have prompts again this year. You guys may have seen me do like middle grade videos in the past, but it's been a long time since I have honestly been in the mood to pick up a middle grade, but this was all I needed I think to get me in the mood. And while I'm not going to be following the prompts, I am hoping to dedicate a week or a weekend at least to middle grade March. So I did pick out some very high priority middle grade books on my shelves that I'm hoping to get to. The first one being Small Spaces by Katherine Arden. I absolutely loved The Bear and the Nightingale, and it is high time that I finally venture into her spooky middle grade series. I feel like at the end of last year I really started diving a little bit more into spooky middle grade because I don't love horror, but I can handle it in small bits, if that makes sense. And I feel like middle grade is still going to give me those eerie, kind of uncomfortable or unsettling vibes without it giving me actual nightmares. I don't know anything about this one. I think it has to do with maybe students on a bus that get like stranded and there's like a demonic scarecrow. I mean, I'm kind of just guessing here from the cover, so I'm going into this one very blind. I do have Dead Voices, which is the second one, so I'm also excited to see if I love this one, that I may just end up going straight into Dead Voices. I also would love to start the series Keeper of the Lost Cities. I know this one is super popular. There's like 12, 20, 50 books in this series at this point, and I know I won't be able to get to all of them anytime soon, but I really would love to see why everyone is so obsessed with this. It says a 12-year-old Sophie Foster has a secret. She's a telepath and has a unique ability to hear the thoughts of everyone around her, something that she's never known how to explain and has made her an outcast even in her own family. So right there, a telepath, that's kind of all I need to know. This looks like an adventurous, fun time, and I'm so here for it. And the last middle grade book I'm hoping to fit in this month is Pages & Co. The Bookwanderers. I think there's 4 books in this series at this point. This one has to do with a main character. Her mother disappeared. She ends up taking over her grandparents' bookstore where characters from books come to life or come visit the bookstore, and I think maybe she goes into these different worlds or something and tries to find her mother. Maybe these characters help her find her mom. I have no idea, but this sounds so whimsical and like the perfect story for me, because honestly, who doesn't love bookish things kind of within a book? And then a book that I cannot believe I won a giveaway for on Instagram of one of my favorite authors. Sarah Penner sent me the London Seance Society, and she even signed it herself, so I do not have to wait for this to come out. I've already started reading it. I'm about 60 pages in, and holy cow, you guys, this is like a notch up from The Lost Apothecary. It is so creepy and it is so good so far. Like, I can already tell this is going to be another 5-star. 1873. At an abandoned chateau on the outskirts of Paris, a dark seance is about to take place. Led by an acclaimed spiritualist, Vaudeline de Allaire, known worldwide for her talent in conjuring the spirits of murder victims to ascertain the identity of the people who killed them, her skills are highly sought after by widows and investigators alike. Lena Wicks has come to Paris to find answers about her sister's death, but to do so, she must embrace the unknown and overcome her own logic-driven bias against the occult. When Vaudeline is beckoned to England to solve a high-profile murder, Lena accompanies her as an understudy. But as the women team up with the powerful men of London's exclusive Seance Society to solve the mystery, they begin to suspect that they are not merely out to solve a crime, but perhaps entangled themselves in one. But I honestly could not wait to pick this up any longer because the author is going to be coming to my town, so I would love to go to her author signing event. So this is definitely going to be the first book that I finish this month. I also have Dawn of Onyx, which my friend Caitlin has not stopped talking about. It's a Kindle Unlimited, I think young adult or adult romantasy book, and that is my limited knowledge of this book. Do I care? No. But do I trust Caitlin? Yes. So I immediately had to pick this up, and sometimes you just need a good fantasy romance, one that's a fresh author, that's not Sarah J. Maas, and I know this is going to be a series at some point. I'm not sure when, but I'm very eager just to dive into this completely blind and hope that it could be a favorite of the year. And the next fantasy I'm hoping to squeeze in is Encyclopaedia of Faeries by Heather Fawcett. This book is absolutely stunning, and one that I haven't seen like this in a while, where the print is actually on the hardback itself. There's actually like no flaps or whatever you call it. This sounds so good. It's basically about a professor that goes to study fairies, but it's kind of like this cozy cottagecore atmosphere, and that's what really sold me on wanting to pick this up. I've seen a ton of people pick this up, but I've actually seen 0 people I know actually read this. I'm very interested to see if the hype holds up once I actually get to this. The main mystery thriller I would love to squeeze in this month is The Younger Wife by Sally Hepworth, mainly because she's also going to be coming to my town for like a discussion and a book signing. I've only read The Good Sister at this point, and so I really think it would be fun or wise to read more of her books. I honestly know nothing about this one, but I do know she typically explores mental health. It's more of a literary suspense than it is a thriller. I think this one actually has to do with a man whose wife has Alzheimer's, and so he decides to like find another wife. It sounds kind of messed up, but 2 of my friends really liked it. So if they like it, I feel like I could get past some of the interesting morals that are happening in this book. It sounds interesting. You have the husband, the daughters, the former wife, and the younger wife. I also put What Lies in the Woods on my January TBR, I think, or February. This is by Kate Alice Marshall, who I absolutely love and adore, but I keep putting this off for some reason. They were 11 when they sent a killer to prison. They were heroes, but they were liars. Naomi Shaw used to believe in magic. 22 years ago, she and her 2 best friends, Cassidy and Olivia, spent the summer roaming the woods, imagining a world of ceremony and wonder. The game became an obsession and a refuge for the 3 girls. That sanctuary was suddenly shattered when Naomi was attacked. Miraculously, she survived her 17 stab wounds and lived to identify the man who hurt her. The girls' testimony put away a serial killer wanted for murdering 6 women. They were heroes, and they were liars. For decades, the friends had kept a secret that might be worth killing for, hidden in the forest, but now Olivia wants to tell the whole story. Then she goes missing, and Naomi sets out to find out what really happened in the woods, no matter how dangerous the truth turns out to be. Wow, that was a lot packed into just the synopsis, so I can only imagine how fast-paced this book is gonna be. Honestly, had me at the word magic. That makes me even more intrigued to finally just pick this one up. I also had to mention that Immortality by Dana Scwartz is finally coming out in just a couple days. I'm going to be clearing my calendar when this comes out, which actually should be out when this video goes live, but I loved the first one so much. It made it to my best books of the year last year, and I have been dying to know what happens because the first one ends on a cliffhanger, and it was just so good. It made me emotional. It was grotesque, especially for a young adult, but I am just so excited to finally get to this one. I definitely don't want to sit here and spoil anything for you, but if you like gothic and you like romance and you like mystery and you also like Grey's Anatomy, I feel like you could really get into this series. And I also was approved for the arc of The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston, which you guys know The Dead Romantics was like top 3 of my favorites last year, so this one is definitely going to be high on my list to get to in March. I really do want to purchase the physical copy, but I'm just itching to pick up another Ashley Poston because she's basically one of my favorite, if not the favorite, romance author I have right now at this point that I am obsessed with. An overworked book publicist with a perfectly planned future hits a snag when she falls in love with her temporary roommate, only to discover he lives 7 years in the past. Sometimes the worst day of your life happens and you have to figure out how to live after it. So Clementine forms a plan to keep her heart safe, work hard, find someone decent to love, and try to remember to chase the moon. So we definitely have some magical realism elements with this, or time travel going on, and I love that so much about Ashley's books because we don't just have like this cutesy, hilarious, like banter romance where sure it's a fun time, but she also has a really good plot or really good values or morals to her books, and that's why I feel so connected to them. And this one just sounds like it's gonna be so much fun, and and probably gonna make me cry again. Like most of us, I'm trying to get a lot better at keeping up with my arcs, especially on NetGalley. So I also got Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers. This author also wrote Dial A for Aunties, and I absolutely loved that book. In this book, we have Vera Wong, who owns a tea shop. She is an elderly lady, but unfortunately, she walks into her tea shop one day and finds a dead man. That's the extent of my knowledge of this book, but if it's as funny as Dial A for Aunties is, I feel like I'm really gonna enjoy this one. So I was so excited to see that she wrote another book, and the fact that this lady is a little bit older, I think is gonna make it even more humorous. So I'm really excited to see what she brings to the table with this story. Alright friends, that is my big ambitious TBR. Once again, I do have some more graphic novels I was going to share with you, but I think I'm just gonna wait to read those or share those with you in my vlog when I vlog for the weekend of the readathon, because I definitely have a lot I could share with you and a lot of good recommendations, but I think I'm gonna hold off for now because I've already shared plenty of books in this video and a lot that I'm super excited to get to. Before you leave this video, go ahead and leave me a pen or a pencil emoji in the comments because of the graphic novel illustrations. Let me know that you made it this far in the video. Let me know what else you guys are excited to read in the month of March. Are you participating in middle grade March? Are you going to be reading graphic novels with me? Let me know. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.